G'day, I'm Owen. You've joined the pub test and this is the 11th video in the Jack the Ripper victim series. And if you are following along as these are being released, let's get straight into it. So no official Ripper crime happened in all of October of 1888. But on November the 9th of 1888, the final official Jack the Ripper crime occurred. And it was Mary Kelly. A lot of the information we know about Mary Kelly comes from Joseph Barnett, so we have to take some of that with a grain of salt, because one, he could have been telling his own story because he was questioned very solidly about the Jack the Ripper crimes, because when Mary Kelly was murdered, it appeared very likely that someone who knew her had committed this atrocity. But what we do know that she was roughly born in 1863 somewhere in Ireland, and either the family moved to Wales or she left the family. Joseph Barnett said she had very little contact with the family at all. Other people dispute that, but I sort of lean towards Joseph Barnett's opinion on this, because at her funeral it was stated that no family could be contacted. So even if she was still in touch, obviously it was very sparse and they weren't easily contactable to come for her funeral. Now, it's stated in her short life she had various boyfriends leading up to meeting Joseph Barnett. It's also thought that she could have been a high-class escort, so not working the streets as such, but definitely someone that could charge a fair bit for their company. But then for some reason, around 1886, that just doesn't really work out, and she is actually walking the streets like an unfortunate. So she has stayed in some of these lodging houses like the other women in this saga have done as well. But somewhere along the way she meets Joseph Barnett. Now he's in gainful employment and they take up a residence in various places. But in 1888, early 1888, they move into 13 Miller's Court. Now, we have covered Joseph Barnett in this series, and yes, he lost his job, and so then Mary had to make money. Now, it's said that she started going out back on the streets, and Joseph Barnett said, "That won't do at all, I am out of here." Yet he later states that it wasn't her working the streets at all, because she wasn't doing that. What he had a problem with was her letting some of these women of the night stay there at 13 Miller's Court. He said one night they were even there sleeping, and she lets some other woman come and stay in the room as well. And remember, this is only a one-room place. It wasn't big by any stretch of the imagination, but it was more secure than a lodging house. And that is important to note, because it does show she had more permanent residency than most of the ones that we've discussed so far. Now, even though Joseph Barnett and Mary have split up, they caught up almost daily, it is said. And Joseph Barnett later states that he regrets leaving because she'd probably still be alive if he had hung around. Whilst Mary was very well known as a likeable person, it said that when she had a few beverages into her, she could get very fiery, but then so could Joseph Barnett, and they used to fight now and then. In fact, at 13 Miller's Court, it was said during an altercation a window was broken. So we can understand why the police would have looked at him in that instance. But what happened there on the night of November the 8th? It says that Mary Kelly ran into a woman, Lizzie Albrook, and she was telling her, "Don't go down the same path I have. Like, it's not worth it." In other words, don't go walking the street. She bemoaned to other people that she wanted to go back to Ireland, where her people were, where life was so much better, rather than being in this drab and dreary area of Whitechapel, staying in this one little room apartment. Now, it said that Joseph Barnett did come and visit, but at 8 p.m. he left for his lodging. And there's a few other differing reports about what happened in between there, but the next official confirmed sighting of Mary Kelly was at 11 p.m. and she was drinking with a young bloke, at the Britannia pub. But then, at 11:45 p.m, a person by the name of Mary Cox sees Mary Kelly with a stout bloke, carroty mustache, and he was carrying something, but it was said it was a pail of beer. Yet it said that bloke left, and Mary Kelly is now in her room from 12:30 p.m, and she starts singing. And apparently someone living above her was a bit annoyed and wanted to go down and sort out and say, look, cut the noise down, it's late. But the husband of this person said, look, leave that poor woman alone, just let us sing. But then, later on, nothing really is heard from Mary Kelly's room. There's no noise and no light from about 1:30 on. Yet, George Hutchinson is on the scene, and he says he sees her around 2 a.m. in the street and asks for some money, which he says, look, I've got no money. If you want to check out that story, that has been covered in this Jack the Ripper saga. Now, the question we have to ask here, is that story true? Because he then says he saw someone with her and he got a real good look at this person. And that was the last reported official sighting of Mary Kelly before going into 13 Miller's Court with this strange person. I have to ask, though, did that happen? Or was that just a total fabricated story? And I ask that because it stated definitely from 3 a.m. in the morning there was no sound or light coming from that room. And Hutchinson said he hung around outside for an hour. Someone, though, in that building around 4 a.m. thought they heard someone call out murder, but that wasn't that uncommon. So, didn't think anything more of it and just went straight back to sleep. Now, there are some other reported sightings of Mary Kelly after this event. One person said, no, I definitely saw her around 10 a.m., but police doubt the person had the right day, even though that person was adamant that they saw her. So a bloke by the name of Maurice Lewis reports that he saw Mary Kelly and Joseph Barnett drinking at 10 p.m. the night before. But they soon just discount what he's saying, and they don't even ask him to come to the inquest because that information does not appear to be accurate. But at 10:45, the landlord goes to collect the money. Knocks on the door, no answer. So he goes and looks in the window and sees the body. They go to the police. They come back. They're waiting for someone to come and open the door, but eventually the police just say, look, knock it down. They get in there and they find, obviously, Mary Kelly deceased. But the clothes are neatly stacked on the chair. And it's not like the room had been ransacked in any way. But here is an important detail. The police report, the official police report of the crime scene, and the media reports of what they said happened vary greatly. The media reports made it look very ritualistic, like something really strange was going on in that room. And that's not to say that something horrific didn't happen, because it did. But it wasn't as ritualistic as the papers were making it out to be. But right now, Ripper hysteria is just launched into the stratosphere. Because this crime was the absolute worst of them all. Now, I will not go into the gory details nor put up any of the photos of that crime scene. They are available if you want to go looking for them. I would encourage you not to, because you probably don't need to see them. But this was different, and this made people even more scared, because here was someone with a permanent residence inside that house, and they were not safe. So not just the police and the papers were getting worried about this. Now the general public were too, as is seen in the next person we're going to discuss. So that's the story of Mary Kelly. What do you think about this one? Let me know down in comments. I find it really disappointing, though, that we don't know any real concrete information about her before she met Joseph Barnett. There's lots of different stories, but none of them really can be corroborated. But if you got some more information, let me know about that too. Yes, we are still continuing with this series because there's a few more possible victims to go, but ones that have a bearing on how people were acting at the time and how they felt about this entire saga unfolding before their eyes. So thank you very much for watching. It genuinely is appreciated. If you want this channel to grow, then smash that subscribe button. Give it a good old belt. I'm Owen. You've been watching the Pub Test, and we will see you on the next one.